to Ask the Accountant Pitstop Podcast here in Manchester. And boy, do we have a guest for you. Now, I know snippets of what we're going to talk about today. I know some really exciting stuff, but trust me when I tell you, this is someone who can prove to you how to change a business around. Tell everyone, why should people be interested in you and what you've done, and go for it? Just tell yourself.
Okay, so my name is Hannah Campbell. I am practice owner of a tax assist accountants franchise up in Edinburgh. I have a bit of a different journey to practice ownership in that I joined the practice as an employee 10 years ago and then went through management buyout, 3 stages, and 1 year ago became the sole owner of my practice.
It's amazing.
Thank you.
Amazing. And it is that story, right? Like, we don't have enough of these success stories. Like, a lot of us have gone and created our own and everything else, but that being in the practice, working your way up, it's really, really impressive. Really, really impressive. So what drove you to kind of go down that route? What was the driving factor for you?
Complete accident, as
Really?
with most of my career. When I had joined the practice, there was a conversation very early on with a non-exec director whether I might be interested in joining as a partner in future.
Yep.
At this point, I'm not yet qualified. I'm like, I don't have money to buy this practice. And I felt I had to warn them, like, there's no family money where I'm not bringing an investment to this. And it was sort of parked at that point. And then a little bit later, the founder, who always wanted to sell, that was his goal. He wanted to bring in a partner who might buy him out. And I was heavily involved in the recruitment process for that when I realized actually this partner is going to be doing my job and I'm already doing this job and running it. The founder was no longer day-to-day operationally in the business. So I went and had a word with them.
Generally, it was just literally
like feels like actually this person's going to be coming in, they're going to be doing a lot of what I'm already doing. There was myself and another manager at the time, and he flipped it around and said, well, if you're serious about becoming a partner yourself, then let's start that ball rolling instead. So it's very much a case that is my career to date, that if I'm offered an opportunity, I will grab it and take it and work my butt off to make it a success.
Amazing. And it from what we know, what we see, it looks like a success. So kudos. Okay, so let's talk about this event, and we'll go back to kind of your story as well. But let's go to this event. How many times have you been to Accountex?
Accountex North, this is my third, and then I've only done London once. This year, London was my first time.
And obviously, London's a whole different beast, right? It's its whole little thing. But what do you think about how impressive this event has changed? Because I don't know about you, but this feels like it's upped its game. Like, Caroline and the team have absolutely nailed it, don't you think?
Yeah, I feel like Accountex North used to sort of be labelled as like Accountex Light, didn't it? You know, exactly, like when you come here, people would be like, oh, but you should see London. Yeah. And actually, in London this year, I felt, it's not quite as massive as everyone
made out.
It's huge, obviously. Yeah. But in terms of like the stands, the impressions, what a Caroline and her team had done, I didn't see a huge difference. And I think that goes to what you were saying about actually Accountex North has really upped its game. So actually, in terms of the experience we have there as visitors or exhibitors, they're just as good. They're just as good as each other. One's just got a lot more legroom.
Yeah, 100%. And what's been your favourite bit about this event so far?
For me, it's always just meeting with everyone else from the industry. So other practice owners like yourself, other software providers, whether that's guys that we already deal with. It's nice to check in with them and see what's happening. There's conversations I have with clients in the run up to this where we're thinking, could this software do that? And I'm like, do you know what? I'm seeing them on Tuesday. Let me just ask them. I like getting in front of them and doing that, as well as potentially checking out new softwares as well that are on the market.
Definitely. I mean, I know we're late in the day, but is there anything you're looking forward to for the rest of the day? Or is this now you starting to calm it down?
I feel like this is just making sure I've seen everyone at this point. I feel like sometimes when you get here, there's too much of a rush to go and see people and see speakers and get to everyone. And I don't know about you, but sometimes it'll be quite late in the day and you think, I've not actually been round the whole floor. I've not seen everyone. I've done that now, but that was after lunch before I got to do that.
Yeah, it's hard, isn't it? Like, we all come with the best intentions and everything else, but the day falls away from you, right? And I think one of the problems you have, especially at that beginning, is you're not having those quality conversations, because in the back of your mind, you're like, well, I've got to get to here, got to get to there. Nah, this is your opportunity just to have those more quality ones with the vendors or the people you want to do, right? Okay, so end of the day, especially for you, you've got to travel a long way. Yeah, you've got London even longer for you.
Mhm.
And I know you've been to some other of the events as well. How do you get that return on investment? Because you have taken time out of your business. You've come down here. You've obviously got an agenda. You want to achieve something. But for someone maybe who's never been to an event before, what's your key action, your key takeaway to making sure that these sort of events become worthwhile for you?
I think, if you come for it with the wrong impression, and maybe if you've been an employee before and you think of these as a way to come and get a haul, get a load of merch and get cool stuff, you're not getting a return on your investment for
No,
your time as a
100%.
business owner doing that. So come with a few deliberate things. So whether that's, I need to see this talk, or I want to see this software provider, I want to speak to this practice owner and find out what they're doing about X, Y, or Z. If you come with like a mini agenda, that you will be happy if you've done like 3 things. 3 things is what I put on mine today.
Yeah.
I knew I was coming here. I wanted to see Rachel Harris's keynote this morning,
Yeah.
and I had some things I wanted to chat with the agent about, and that was it. If I
Yeah.
do that, I feel like I've had a
And you've
successful
achieved.
day.
Brilliant.
Everything else is then just a bonus on top of that.
I love
And
that.
also this year, I've brought my team. I've brought about half of my team, so I've actually sent them off to all the talks that I want to know about.
Amazing.
So yesterday, I was like, just some suggestions, things you might be interested in.
Suggestions, but not so you are going to.
Not one of them you have to watch the recording because you have to report this back to me. But
I love that.
that's just a reflection of where we are in the business, that we're getting at that point where they
Yeah.
should be bringing the things to me
100%.
anyway, and this helps them. So, and I guess that's another part on return on investment, that bringing the team along, it's goodwill that one, that you're bringing them
Yeah.
out, they're getting a day out of office, they don't have to make up their time, of course, but actually they then get to go and see this, or see you interacting with your peers in the industry and seeing what they could have in future as well.
And that's huge, right? Like just them getting to know those people. And also, most of the time, they're better placed to be able to find those pain points that your clients have, right? Because they deal with them on a day-to-day basis. They understand it. And I remember taking my team to London, and they were coming back with all these suggestions that they were going to do. And that's the point, right? Like sometimes I'm blind to those issues or whatever it's going to be, but they'll see a vendor and go, that's the pain point I've got, and go through from there. One of my favorite bits that I had as well was Sam Newton was telling us how he's actually set them tasks. So have you gone that far? Have you gone down a task list for them? I know you've told him to go there, but it's almost like he had KPIs for them they had to hit.
Oh, I heard that.
I know.
Not
That's
surprised
typical
to
Sam,
have,
right? Yeah.
The team the squads have KPIs. Yes.
Exactly. Yeah.
Definitely keeping that idea for next year. But you're right about they're closer to things. So like Expert, for example, Will came up to see me last week. Great chat. But actually, in terms of a demo, I'm like, don't demo it to me.
Yeah.
Demo it to the VAT team who are actually in the software day in, day out, and actually going to be able to see what value it adds, and then they can tell me how they think we can implement this, or whether they think it's worthwhile for us. Because when you get hopefully to that good point in your business, you shouldn't know the transactional problems that your team have got. They should be the ones able to come to you and come up with solutions. But I think if they're only ever in the office on the day job, they're not seeing the solutions. Bringing them here hopefully just clears their head, fresh space, and actually to see what could be possible is really great for them.
I love that advice. Okay, you are definitely someone I see as very passionate about this industry. I definitely see that with you. But what is it about this industry that you love the most? What's that bit that gives you those warm, fuzzy feelings?
The community aspect, I think, is really lovely. And it's something that, with the exception of Johann, now that we are connected up in Edinburgh, I think locally we don't have a lot of community and collaboration between accountancy firm owners. Whether that's a Scotland problem or a very local Edinburgh problem, I don't see it massively. Whereas actually, I think when you come here, you get more like-minded practice owners who know that it's not a competition, that there's plenty of work for all of us, and actually want to help each other and share information within each other. I think that community for me is really key. I think I'm going to give you a second little mini answer to that.
Yeah.
But I love how collectively we are a new generation of practice owners who are changing the face of accountancy. I think a lot of years ago, you might have 1 or 2 people saying, I'm not your average accountant. I think we can stop saying that, because I think we've done it.
Yeah.
I think we have shown that there is no average accountant anymore, and they can come in any shape or size or wear any colour that we want to wear. So I actually think that we need to actually stop for a second and recognise that we've done that.
Yeah, 100%.
We've made huge strides in that mission, I think.
Because there's definitely a lot to do, and there's a lot of stuff that needs to be changed in the industry. But you're right. I think we do need to pat ourselves on the back for what we have achieved to what we've done. And people like yourself are people pushing that boundary, like going for there. And yeah, we've got to look back at it with the achievement. That's what you love about the industry. But what would you change about the industry? What part keeps you up at night going, if only we could change this, it'll be better for everyone?
I don't know if we will change it, because I think for me it ultimately comes down to the values of certain people or certain firms, and it's probably something that more so in the last few years that's become very important to me. And I think coming out of COVID, you want to work with like-minded people. You wanted to work with the people who understood that you were also in a difficult situation during 2020.
Yeah.
You're doing a million furlough claims and supporting them. So that's been a key part of that. And yeah, there's some attitudes within the industry, attitudes within maybe certain firms, which to me are still outdated or maybe a little bit money grabbing.
Yeah.
And actually, if someone doesn't want to pay my fee, fine, there's no pressure, they can move on. I want to work with people who want to work with us and who
See the
we can
value,
add
right?
value. And when there are people out there who do not think that, and there might be a multitude of reasons why they don't think that, but if they can get a little bit pushy or a little bit money grabbing, it hurts all of us.
Yeah, I completely agree. Completely agree. Who would you describe as your ideal client?
Yeah, my ideal client are the ones that probably see us more than just compliance and transactional, and some clients, you can add all the value in the world, but they might only want you for their tax return. They might not want anything else from you, and that's fine. We're here to service those. But I have some clients now where I'm doing almost consultancy with them. So we've got one where we're doing quarterly sort of strategy sessions and accountability sessions, and we've turned his business really around. And we've only had 2 of those quarterly sessions so far. We're about to have the 3rd, and he by the second meeting is like, this has been so worth the investment. Like, my business, I can see it changing. We've got clear goals, and that's been really rewarding. And it's, again, just clients that want to work with you. You get the most value from them. It's nice and wholesome when you have a meeting. There's another client where I'm doing similar consultancy, but I'm actually delivering it to a senior member of his team who's going to buy him out
Oh, wow.
in the future. And so one, that's really close to my journey.
Definitely.
And that's why the clients asked me to do that. But yeah, it's those clients that I think see you as more than just a service provider and see you as a person and want to take all the value you're willing to add.
I love that.
Years ago, I remember, and it sticks in my head, but I had a sit-down meeting with a client. I'd inherited this client. We'd done a set of accounts. They were loss making for yet another year. And I tried to have like a strategic discussion about how we could fix that and move it going forward. And a couple of weeks later, I got a clearance letter that they left.
Right.
And that was like, oh, like, don't you want that from your accountant? So yeah, I've had the both ends of the spectrum there. So yeah, any client that really wants us to add that value and use us for what we can do for them is ideal. But ultimately, you need a tax return, you need your accountants done, and you're a small business owner. As long as you're not rude to my team and you're happy to work with us, then we're happy to work with you,
You're
really.
right, fine. I love that. I love that. Okay, so a year ago, you were here, for Manchester. So try and think back that year. Can you think to any piece of technology, gadget, any software, any app, anything really that you've used in that time frame? Can be earlier if you want, that you wish you could go back 12 months and implement from that day, because it's been that impactful for you. And hopefully for the people listening, give them something that they can go away and go, you know what, that is a great bit of technology service, anything. It doesn't have to be accounting related, anything. Let's just help you and your business kind of get to where it is now.
I'm not going to give you a direct answer to this question, but I'm going to give you something that I think will still tell people what I would advise in that scenario. The biggest issue I've had being inheriting a practice that I was an employee of and then trying to change that is when you've got a legacy business and legacy clients, and when you've got several hundred, if not 1,000 of those clients, then you're in a scenario where any change is hard. You've not just got to set up this new software, you've got to get 1,000 legacy clients in there and make sure that the little quirks and intricacies from this old legacy system go into this new one. So it can actually limit you from just grabbing new software and technology with both hands and implementing it fully. So my advice would more be, if you're earlier on in scaling, find the best software and implement it now and just set it up for scale. Don't say, I'll get practice management software in year 3 once I've got this many clients. Like, set up, start as you mean to go on, because the adjustments down the line are so much tougher.
Yeah.
You need to have a strategy around anything you implement. Once you get to the size of practice I now have, everything becomes this massive project. You can't have quick wins, really.
Yeah, 100%. And you've got to be prepared for that scale, right? Because who knows when you're going to scale? Who knows when whatever gold mine you've hit is start going to generate you those clients? Because if you're doing a good job, most of the time those clients start coming in. And if you haven't already implemented it beforehand, you're going to get caught out, right? And that's the issue.
Yeah, you don't want to be chasing your tail and sort of speaking to someone where you're thinking, maybe we can help you. You know, I think that's going to come over in a prospect meeting if you aren't 100% sure that you've got the capacity or the tech or the ability to help them in some way.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be signing them up, frankly, I would say, if you're not sure. 100%. So you're just even more confident selling your services and putting yourself out there if you know you've got the back-end systems and processes to serve them well.
Definitely. Okay, so we looked 12 months back. With those 12 months, we've looked at what tech we could implement, or in your case, how to implement it. But if we look forward 12 months, there's this little word called AI that keeps popping up. Now, is AI a fad? Is it something that is just a buzzword? Or do you think it's going to be a force for good?
I think it will, and it has the power to be a force for good if used properly and all of that side of it. I think as accountants, we need to be very careful about how we use it. You know, there's the integrity of client data. We don't really want, ChatGPT to have anything or loose programs like that to have details like that. But I think we also need to almost accept and again pat ourselves on the back that actually as an industry, we've been using AI for way longer than we've been speaking about
100%.
AI. I'm liking some of the little clever uses of it. So with my video content, I'm using it to like pull old videos and get transcripts to use to reshoot those.
Yeah.
Really liking those little practical applications of it.
Yeah.
I think what we hear, it's hard to come to an event like this and for there not to be half the talks full of AI. There's been less today, which I think is actually quite nice. I think what we need to see more of is practical applications of AI, and what we're hearing a lot of is almost hot air and theory of how it might be used in future.
Yeah.
And I would like to see us talk about more like, here's how I'm using it today.
And here's a practical example.
Next.
Yeah.
I'm going to try it this week with looking at just raw data, obviously no client information, but actually historical data to work out trends, to save me from sitting and going, well, this has been the growth trend. Let's do our forecast based on that. So it would be good to see that.
Yeah.
But I think as an industry, whether it comes from the insurers, the professional bodies, I think we need a little bit more clarity and guidance as a profession on sort of the accepted, allowable use of it. I can feel like someone's going to have a nightmare insurance claim in years to come, aren't they, as a result of this, if we're not careful.
And the practicing bodies out there are very scared about it, but they're also not being quick enough to adapt. Just something holding back. And people are going to be testing, and like you said, people are going to get it wrong. So we'll see how it goes. But Hannah, thank you so much for giving your time up and coming over on the pod. We definitely need to figure out how we're going to do a Cool Friends episode at some point. I think there's a lot more to deep dive into, and I'm sure you guys will agree. Put some comments on there if you want to see that yourself. So please use the cameras there. We've got that one, and that one. Plug some more. The floor is yours.
Okay, so if you are a small business owner who happens to need an accountant, you will obviously have loads of choice, especially if you're watching this podcast, but you can give me a call if you want to chat that through. Otherwise, LinkedIn is the best place to connect with me. I will put out content most weekdays and some video content that helps you, whether you're a practice owner or a business owner.
Thank you so much. And that's it. That has been another fantastic episode of Podcast Pitstop here at Manchester 2024. Remember, we've got loads of content coming your way. So make sure you like, subscribe, and all that sort of jazz. Hannah, thank you so much. This has been an absolutely amazing pod. Thank you for giving up your time and keep being awesome.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.